Good afternoon. Welcome to the session on employee engagement, a key to enhance productivity in organizations. My name is Srikanth. I work with Rama Institute of Management as Head of Corporate Relations and Placements, and I also teach some HR courses. At the outset, I'd like to thank the top management of our institute, our Dean, Dr. Muralidharan, our academic head, Dr. Savitarani Madam, and our MDP team comprising Dr. Padmaja, Bala Sir, and Swami Sir for having given us this opportunity to present this webinar. So let me welcome all the webinar delegates. A warm welcome to all of you. We do realize that we do have some delegates from abroad also. So welcome to all of you, depending, good afternoon and good morning, depending on where you are. Going forward, what is employee engagement? The session agenda would start with is as per the order given. We'll discuss what is employee engagement. We'll also discuss the history and theoretical framework of employee engagement, employee engagement and business outcomes. Obviously, it has an impact on business outcomes. The state of employee engagement in 18 and 19, the years which passed by, I must tell you, it's relatively a new concept in social science. I'm sure you would not have seen a textbook still on employee engagement. Employee engagement trends for 2020 and beyond. We are already in 2020, and it's good to do a bit of crystal gazing. And to sign off and to give some takeaway for our delegates, let me present 12 questions to know whether employees engage or not. These questions were framed by Gallup International. Okay, let us begin by asking what employee engagement is not, because in social sciences, there are a lot of words which can be quite confusing, and it's important to be very clear about what it is not before we come to understand what employee engagement is. Employee engagement is definitely not job satisfaction. Job satisfaction or employee satisfaction is a measure of workers' contentedness with the job, whether or not they like the job, or individual aspects or facets of the job, such as the nature of work or supervision. What it simply means is they can have job satisfaction whether or not they can like the job or not. Going forward, employee involvement. It is not employee involvement, because employee involvement means the direct participation of staff to help an organization fulfill its mission and meet its objectives by applying their own ideas, expertise, efforts towards solving problems and making decisions. It is also not employee motivation. Employee motivation is the level of energy, commitment, creativity that a company's workers bring to the jobs. Definitely not overtime. In fact, overtime could also mean sometimes that we are inefficient in our work. Overtime is the amount of time someone works beyond normal working hours. So employee engagement is definitely not overtime. Employee experience, this is a new concept which sometimes used to the shortened form of EX. Is an emerging business function focused on tracing how employees think and feel during every single touch point of their journey through the company. Sometimes employee engagement, EX can be comparable with CX. EX emerged as a direct response to a similar function one might have heard of, such as customer experience. It is believed that employee experience may encompass a larger domain than employee engagement. Let us see how. Employee engagement is also not job ownership. Job ownership means standing up and announcing that one is responsible for executing a particular task or project sometimes taking ownership will just mean accountable for a project within your job description. And what it simply means, I take full ownership for completion. Again, it is not job fit. Job fit is a concept that refers to how well an employee is suited for his or her position. Usually, there is a correlation between the qualification and the position. Hiring employees who are in best fit for the position is a great way for organizations to decrease turnover, both voluntary and involuntary, and improve employee retention rates. So, what is employee engagement? Well, certainly not get-togethers, parties, picnics, and outings. Sometimes it is mistaken. So, what then is employee engagement? The secret lies in the employee engagement cloud there. To get an understanding of employee engagement, let us see a short video. I hope all of you can hear. If you're not able to hear or see, please let us know. So, what is employee engagement? Employee engagement is the ability and willingness of an employee to go the extra mile beyond the brief of her job description and contribute to organizational success by providing discretionary effort on sustained basis. I would like to draw your attention to some key words here. Ability and willingness. This can-do factors and will-do factors. Okay. Discretionary effort. You cannot force people to get engaged. The employee voluntarily and uses his or her discretion to contribute to organization success. And it is not a flash in the pan or a one-off kind of initiative. It is on sustained basis. So you can imagine implication of such a powerful statement. Khan is considered to be the father of employee engagement. He was the first person to notice and understand personal engagement. He defined it as equivalent to binding employees to their work roles. According to him, in engagement, people get totally involved physically, cognitively, and emotionally. Physically is easy to understand. Cognitively means knowingly. Knowingly, a person commits himself or herself. Emotionally, over a period of time, the person gets emotionally bonded to the work. By contrast, he also defined employee personal disengagement as the unbinding of employees from the work roles. In disengagement, people tend to move away physically, cognitively, and emotionally during role performances. Quite understandable. Only if you engage, then you're bound to your job. If you're not bound to your job, you are disengaged. So how does this happen? There is some theory behind this. Because what it simply means is an employee will get a salary for 8 hours, but he or she says, I'll work for another 2 hours or more number of hours, and I don't want salary, but I'll work voluntarily. You do it to my discretion. This happens because of 3 psychological conditions determined by Mr. Khan. They are personal, psychological meaningfulness, psychological safety, and psychological availability. Let me explain. Psychological meaningfulness occurs when people feel worthwhile, useful, and valuable. People think, yes, I am valued, I am worth. Psychological safety pertains to the ability to show and employ oneself without fear of negative consequences to self-image, status, or career. It is a known fact that employees are part of the organization, they are intelligent, they need to be empowered. It's not always they will have to ask permission to do a lot of things. So they will take some decisions. At that time, they would like to know whether they are safe. If they use their discretion, are they safe? That is what psychological safety is all about. Psychological availability refers to readiness of the people to engage. Simply put, somebody has to be ready to do a particular kind of work. A person who is good at football will not be playing cricket. So he or she is saying, I am good at football, let me be available to play football. Let me also be mentally, I'm also mentally keen to play that. That is what availability is all about. According to Khan, people use varying degrees of their selves, physically, cognitively, and emotionally in work role performances, which has implications for both their work and experiences. You can imagine there are many employees in an organization. Everybody would like to use their discretion differently. So different doses of physical, cognitive, and emotional involvements are at play here. Little bit about the evolution. As I told you, it is a recent concept and it was conceptualized by Mr. Khan in 1990. Later, engagement was studied as an antithesis of burnout. So generally these two words are used simultaneously. Simply put, burnout is the opposite of engagement, or burnout means disengagement. And it was first used for study of business units in 2002. May, Gilson, and Harter used the first empirical testing of Kahn's concepts, meaningfulness, safety, and availability. Sachs, a Canadian professor, did academic research on antecedent consequences of employee engagement. My submission here is, this is a very powerful research paper, is a path-breaking research paper which opened the doors to a lot of aspects of employee engagement. Sachs paper of 2006. Then came the research paper of Mr. Vance, where he was conceptualized by commercial and consulting organizations. In 2008, Macy and Schneider introduced trait, state, and behavioral engagement concepts. And in 2008, again, American Society for Training and Development conducted and disseminated empirical evidence of E and linked it to learning. So, what is it one statement? Is it many statements? Does it have parts? Are there smaller aspects, bigger aspects? Let me draw your attention to this slide. At the lowest level is personal engagement, though it is shown on the top of the slide, but what it simply means is it's in terms of impact, it is small. At the highest level is the organizational engagement. So let me take you through how an employee can go from personal engagement to organizational engagement, where it is equivalent to employee engagement, where engagement is total. Here, he or she has to pass through stages of what is otherwise known as task engagement, job engagement, work engagement, team engagement. So let us see how all these are connected. Task engagement simply is the engagement associated with specific tasks. Usually a job comprises numerous tasks. At the lowest level of aggregation, it's a task. Next comes job engagement. Job engagement is the engagement associated with job-centric factors such as sustainable workload, feelings of choice and control, appropriate recognition and rewards, supportive work community, fairness and justice, and meaningful and valued work. Again, conceptualized by Sachs. What it simply means is a person who's executing a job has got enough elbow room, enough space, and enough discretion to execute his or her job to the best of his or her ability. Next, we look at work engagement. It's a slightly larger horizon than job engagement. Work engagement is defined as a person's involvement in his or her job. It has two dimensions, vigor and dedication. A person, if he or she likes the work, is likely to express vigor, dedication. He can be fully absorbed in the job. Next, we come to team engagement. Sometimes the composition of the team, the different talents of the different team members motivates us to get engaged. So group or team engagement is nothing but the engagement of employee associated with group or team activities. At the top, we have organizational engagement or employee engagement. This is engagement of the employee in exchange for economic, socio-emotional resources received from the organization, like but not restricted to perceived organizational support and procedural justice. When an employee enters an organization and starts working with an organization, if he or she perceives that the organization is giving me a lot of things which I want, let me also give back to organization. It is an exchange. It is a voluntary exchange, discretionary exchange, it's a package. It is not to be looked at in micro terms. On the whole, the employee decides that he or she will get engaged, fully engaged with the organization. So let me take you through the actual theory behind employee engagement. This was also conceptualized by Sachs in 2006. It is believed, and I firmly believe, and I'm sure a lot of my colleagues will agree, and a lot of my HR professionals and colleagues will also agree, that employee engagement enhances organizational productivity. But to ensure or facilitate employee engagement, what does the organization need to do? What does the HR department of the organization need to do? We believe that the organization needs to provide appropriate antecedents. I can explain these words. You can see on the left of the slide. What are the antecedents? Job characteristics. Not very difficult to relate. Perceived organizational support. Yes, I can explain that. Perceived supervisor support. Yes. It is a known fact that for any employee, the immediate supervisor plays a vital role in his or her life, in shaping his or her career. Rewards and recognition. Very fair. If employees work hard, employees deliver results, if strategic goals are achieved, they do expect rewards and recognition. Obviously, rewards and recognition policies of different companies are different. So what unique rewards and recognitions can a company offer to retain their employees, to enable the employees to get engaged? Procedural justice. Yes, there are policies, there are protocols. Are they appropriate? Are the procedures okay? Are they fair? Are they unfair? And last but not the least, distributive justice. There could be protocols, there could be procedures, but are they administered in a proper way? Do the employees feel that it is administered in a proper way? Is the organization fair, and does the organization appear to be fair also? Not only is the organization expected to be fair, the organization should appear to be fair in front of all employees also. If these are the antecedents, if this is the magic potion which is to be administered to employees to facilitate the engagement, what do we get as results? The results are job satisfaction. All these are confirmed through research. Job satisfaction is a welcome consequence because satisfied employees who are satisfied with the job will only do better, and it will lead to better output. Organizational commitment. The employees develop some kind of commitment towards the organization. They believe that there is a bond and I need to deliver the results. I need to work towards the organizational goals. There is lesser intention to quit, though it is mentioned as intention to quit. The positive consequence of employee engagement is there is less intention to quit will go down. It is a very healthy sign because organizations hire the best talent, they train them, they groom them, and they should keep them happy, they should engage them, and they should give them a career. If the career doesn't progress as per plans, if the employee is not happy, the employee will leave the organization, as you just saw in the video. That is not desirable. What it means is the entire investment in the employee is almost gone to zero, isn't it? And finally, we have another interesting concept called the organizational citizenship behavior. I will take you through the definitions, but this also means that a person goes beyond his or her brief to do something good for the organization. It is a known fact that these consequences will result in better organizational output. These are all very positive consequences from the employee point of view, and it will result in better organizational or business output. It is useful to go through some of the definitions. As I told you, antecedents. A preceding substance, event, object, style, phenomenon is like a prerequisite. For engagement, antecedents are a prerequisite. Engagement is not going to happen just like out of thin air. Aspects of employee engagement. Employee engagement is, as we saw the definition, but the nuts and bolts and daily activities of employee engagement will definitely tend to vary from industry to industry. Employee engagement in a hotel is different from employee engagement in a hospital, which will again be different from employee engagement in a bank. So, different aspects of engagement will vary from industry to industry, situation to situation, task to task, team to team, and person to person. Characterizations of employee engagement. How do you know employee is engaged? It will manifest in his or her characterization. He or she is expected to show vigor, dedication, absorption. You can easily make out. He or she is thoroughly enjoying his or her job. He or she is performing well. He or she is giving output as per its company's requirements. Consequences, the effect, result, or outcome of something occurring earlier. So you see, all are interconnected. Antecedents facilitate engagement. Engagement lead to consequences. Consequences lead to better business outcomes. Ultimately, an organization expects better business conduct. It can be a competitive edge. So let us spend some time in defining some antecedents, because employee engagement is all about understanding antecedents for a particular organization. Job characteristics. Characteristics that provide challenging work variety, allow the use of different skills, personal discretion, and opportunity to make important contributions. Simply put, it covers skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, feedback. Obviously, this is a manifestation of psychological meaningfulness and psychological availability. All antecedents are, if you drive down deeply, will have roots in psychological meaningfulness and availability. Perceived organizational support refers to a general belief that one's organization values the contribution and cares for their well-being. If an individual feels the organization cares for them, that goes a long way. That's a strong antecedent. Perceived supervisor support. Enough research has been done. It is a known fact that immediate supervisor plays a great role. Is a make or mar, a do or die role in case of an employee. He or she can help the employer to go a long way. This is a manifestation of psychological support. Rewards and recognition, easy to understand. Procedural justice and distributive justice. As I told you, there should be processes and protocols to distribute resources, and there should be fairness in the decision outcomes of the process. So what are consequences? Job satisfaction, we already discussed that. Organizational commitment is defined as a view of the organization member's psychology towards his or her attachment to the organization that he or she is working for. Organizational commitment plays a vital role in determining whether an employee will stay in the organization for a long period of time and work passionately towards achieving the organization's goal. Intention to quit. All employees, the organization would like all good employees to stay and contribute. Quitting an organization is a lot of effort wasted. Organizational citizen behavior, as I told you, is a person's voluntary commitment with an organization or company that is not part of his or her contractual tasks. Simply put, in organizational citizen behavior, an employee goes beyond the brief of what is expected of him or her, but still, since it's in favor of the organization, it benefits the organization, he or she does that act. This is an important slide. It explains a lot of things. It is applicable to virtually, I would like to say all employees. You can see on the x-axis are skills, on y-axis are challenges. How important is it to marry the skills with challenges for each employee? On the lowermost corner, you can see apathy, easy to understand, low skills, low challenges. If you go a little higher, high challenges and low skills causes worry and stress. Further, high challenges and low skills causes anxiety. While on the x-axis, low challenges and low skills cause apathy, low challenges and high skills cause boredom. The person is overqualified, but she or she is not challenged, so he is bored. And at a further extra, the person is highly qualified but not challenged or kept idle, he or she starts relaxing. Probably he or she starts getting salary for not even doing any work. So let us go to this quadrant. At medium skill and medium challenge, there is arousal. Medium skill and high challenge, there is arousal. At medium skill and medium challenge, there is control. But the most desirable is high skill and high challenge. Is an ideal situation. It is skill agnostic, gender agnostic, people agnostic, and level agnostic, hierarchy agnostic. It doesn't matter. You can be a clerk in the organization, but still you can experience flow because an employee is fully challenged. His skills are matching with his or her challenges. His or her skills are matching with her challenges. It is not level dependent. The chief executive can also experience a situation of flow. This is the most desirable situation for all employees, the ideal situation. If only all could reach this status, it could be a good attempt at engaging all employees. So what is happening in today's organizations? There are many surveys done and many investigations done, but this is one representative situation. It is found that 29% are engaged. We have just defined engagement. They are loyal, committed. 52% are not engaged, but they're psychologically connected to the company. They miss more work days, more likely to leave. 19% are actively disengaged. They're physically present, psychologically absent. They're unhappy, insist on sharing this unhappiness with others. You can even say they are the bad apples. I want to draw your attention to the difference in meaning, not engaged versus disengaged. There's a lot of difference. Any good organization would attempt to move the people who are the not engaged category by providing the required antecedents and move them to the engaged category, which will ultimately benefit the organization. Little bit of historical surveys. Gallup pioneered this survey long back. It was conducted in the years 2011 and 12, and results were published in 2013. So you can see disengaged and not engaged are more than engaged. There's only a marginal improvement in the next year. In fact, disengaged are twice as many as engaged. 63% are not engaged, 24% actively disengaged. It means 900 million people are not engaged and 340 million actively disengaged. You can imagine what this would do to the productivity of the organizations which are surveyed. The redeeming feature is there's an increase of 2% in employee engagement level. One more finding from the survey, this is from the companies which are engaged. The engaged companies fare better in customer satisfaction, productivity, and profitability. They show lower absenteeism, lower turnover, lower shrinkage, lower number of safety accidents, lower number of patient safety accidents, and lower number of defects. This is where engagement is directly connected to organizational output. It indicates a higher organizational output. Recent Gallup survey, only US companies, sample size of 30,628 from all US states. It gives you a history of engagement from 2000 to 2018. So from 26, it has gone up to 34. So there has been some improvement. That's a very positive sign. What is the state of employee engagement as we approach the current time scenario? One set of organizations, HR Research Institute and Bonusly, had the following findings. Attaining high employee engagement continues to be a challenge. Leaders and immediate supervisors make the biggest difference in engagement. Engagement might be improved through more frequent measurement, better employee recognition, greater career growth opportunities, and more HR involvement. Major finding 4 is engagement is still widely viewed as being linked to overall company performance. So what are the trends for 2020? We are already in 2020. It is a bit of crystal gazing, but nevertheless worth. People first culture, a culture which gives top priority to people. It is believed that culture of the organization plays a vital role in engaging and retaining employees. Elevating of company culture is a crucial activity. More prominence to work-life harmony. Gone are the days of work-life balance. It is not work-life balance now, it is work-life harmony. And we are currently in the COVID times, in work from home times. What it simply means is we may have to embrace flexibility, work from home, gig economy. Gig economy is nothing but Employees who are on contractual basis because of their strong skills, they are highly sought after. This is already happening in places like Singapore and Hong Kong. Gig economy has a close correlation with the co-working spaces because these highly skilled people don't need anything, any office, don't need anything. They just need to plug and play on an hourly basis if required in co-working spaces. Cloud technology will continue to reign. Thanks to cloud technology, all HR tools are on cloud. So you can manage your HR department using internet from a mobile phone round the clock in transglobal organizations with geographies cut across the world, spanning across the world. Influx of artificial intelligence and machine language. Enhanced employee productivity through analytic-driven and logical decisions. There's going to be a tsunami of data, and there's globalization, there's a lot of information being churned out. We need to ensure that employee productivity is measured, is driven through analytics and logical decision. Redefining the human in HR. HR stands for human resources. So all this technological advancement needs to be blended with the compassionate human approach. It cannot be insensitive to human beings. Then there's no point. Employees will not get engaged. Diversity and inclusion in workplace. Very important. It's not only diversity, not enough hiring diverse people. We should also include them. They should be given appropriate responsibilities. Their career plans and aspirations need to be addressed. This cuts across all kinds of people categories, be it geographical diversity, gender diversity, or any diversity which we can imagine. Gender equality, women empowerment, women safety. We are talking about a global workplace which is seamless, working beyond time, having work from home. During all this, if people are to be engaged, safety is very important. Safer and more balanced working environment is critical for companies. Employees as brand ambassadors. Yes, we are living in the age of social media. It is a fact that an employee has 10 times more followers on social media than his or her employer. Some more trends. Ample opportunities for career growth. Organizations must foster an environment where Gen Y and Gen Z can learn, grow, and advance. Gen Y, also known as millennials, those who are born between 76 to 2000. Gen Z or Gen Z, as they may call it, are those who are born in the year 2000 or after that. Very soon they'll enter the workforce. So Gen Y is a very powerful demographic cohort category. It is expected they are already close to 50 to 60% now, and by 2030 they'll be 75% of the world population. So obviously their aspirations and career plans and career growth aspirations need to be addressed. Workplace wellness. No marks for agreeing to that. Healthy mind resides in a healthy body. If people have to be engaged, they have to be healthy. If employees have to be engaged, they have to be healthy. Prioritizing mental health in workplace. I think this is a very important point. Usually, when an employee spends 8 hours a day, sometimes more, sometimes the employee is highly engaged, focused, committed, but it may be taking a toll, it may be creating stress. It may affect the employee's mental health, which may not be easily manifested. So this needs to be prioritized, as mental health may be as important as physical health. not more important. Interesting and challenging work. Obviously, there could be a set of leaders and HR managers who are quite old, but the majority of the population is quite young, Gen Y and Gen Z. This generation has different kind of thinking. They are challenge seekers and critical thinkers. They cannot be measured through the old types of measurement. They cannot be assessed. They need different kind of challenges. And last but certainly not the least, employee-friendly benefits. Don't be shocked. We are talking about free snack napping rooms. Yes, why not? The employee is spending 12 hours in an office. If he or she is stressed out or tired, why should he or she not take rest? Paid fitness memberships and the likes. All this we expect is going to play a vital role in facilitating employee engagement. As a takeaway for all the delegates, if you want a quick reality check, you can administer this questionnaire to yourself. This was actually developed by Gallup organization. It's like, you can call it checking your blood pressure if you want. Do you know what is expected of you at work? Do you have the materials and equipment you need to do your work right? At work, do you have the opportunity to do what you do best every day? In the last 7 days, have you received recognition or praise for doing good work? Does your supervisor or someone at work seem to care about you as a person? Is there someone who encourages your development? At work, do your opinions seem to count? Does the mission purpose of your company make you feel that your job is important? Are your associates, fellow employees committed to doing quality work? Do you have a best friend at work? In the last 6 months, has someone at work talked to you about your progress? In the past year, have you had opportunities to learn and grow? With this, I come to the end of my presentation. The floor is open for questions. Those who want to ask questions can raise their hands. Alternately, you can key in your questions in the chat. There's a question which says, does rewarding too many times create more expectations from employee? Good question. Well, I would like to answer that question by saying reward and performance has to be connected. Whenever we talk of reward and recognition, we are not telling of freebies or unconditional rewards. Rewards obviously have to be tied to performance. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Ajit Kamath. Okay, there are some questions here. Fundamental difference between job and work. What are the 3 prime challenges in to employee engagement in medium firms and startups? Good question. To answer your first question, I think work is a larger canvas than job. Job relates to the immediate. As I was mentioning in my definition, job is a smaller domain than work. Job could be an immediate assignment. An employee may be involved in many assignments, but something immediate or something which has a beginning and which has an end. Whereas work is a little more long term, larger horizon. What are the three prime challenges to medium firms and startups? I think the major challenge is the will of the top management. If top management believes, we do agree that medium-sized firms and startups are different kind of challenges. If an employee is properly, if you can talk to the employees and if you can understand them better, you can definitely get a larger level of employee engagement from them. You need to invest some time. It will depend on the nature of your business, the nature of work. It is usually believed that startup employees are usually more engaged because the excitement and pressure of startups itself is enough to keep people engaged. I hope I answered your question, Mr. Swami Vyas. Aishwarya says, your thoughts on employee engagement during pandemic like COVID-19. What could be the way forward? Good question. You can already see it's happening. First and foremost, work from home is happening. I don't know whether you're an employee or student. It's a good time to upskill yourself. Pandemic will not be there for lifelong, right? At the pessimistic level, it is 1 year. At realistic level, it is 6 months. Optimistic level may be much earlier. Or optimistic can be 6 months, realistic 9 months, pessimistic 1 year. But skills acquired by you, and in any organization, there could be many other aspects. Can you find out what are the ways your organizations can survive in a situation like COVID? You may be realizing that COVID-19 is probably good for some businesses. It's good for the education technology industry. It's good for the logistics and supply chain industry. It's good for FMCG companies. So there's always a positive aspect to everything, even in a pandemic-like situation. I hope I've answered your question. Mr. Harish Sethi says, considering the different age groups in the site and union versus non-union environment, what should be the strategy for the HR? Union versus non-union. Okay. I was referring clearly to the generation Y, generation Z. Each generation, each age group may require different antecedents for involvement. It is possible to have employees from different age groups and still working as towards the benefit, organizational benefit. I have personally a lot of faith on unionized employees also. They're also human beings. I think they need to be spoken to. They play a vital role in contributing to the organization's welfare. So I'm sure it's possible. I hope I've answered your question. Dr. Srikanth R, Assistant Professor, Vivekananda Agri College. Okay. Somebody asked how to keep employee engaged during COVID. I answered that question. What are the strategies that firm can adopt to ensure employee engaged and improve engagement further other than rewarding? If you notice, rewarding was only one of the 6 points. All the other 5 points are non-rewarding. Rewarding is not the only way. If anything, rewarding should be tied to performance. There are many aspects of engaging employees without sheer rewarding. You need to invest some time and find out what employees need. What most popular engagement model, which is more applicable I would like to answer that question by saying that you can take the model which I have presented. You will get a copy of this PPT. I think that model is very robust. It is virtually applicable to any employment situation. Shravanti Lakshminarayan asks, we are under pressure of COVID-19. How would you guide us to improve engagement? Yes, I answered that question, but if you have any specific details, I would like to know. It is possible to keep employees engaged during COVID. There is work from home, there is teleconferencing, video conferencing, so many aspects are there. Ambika Patnaik says, what are the steps should be taken for employees to improve mental health under EE program in a company? Yes, good question. To start off, you can definitely have a cell or a committee which looks into mental health issues. You can retain a good psychiatrist for the organization. I don't know what is the size of the organization. Today, mental health is an accepted form of illness. In fact, we don't know who's suffering, but it's important to know there are signals. It is very sad to lose very young people due to depression or mental health issues. Not only the person's family loses a lot, the country loses a lot. It is not fair. So such things should be avoided. Anupama asked me, good afternoon, sir. Engagement is appropriate measuring level is not suggested. Yes. Just like Gallup scale, UWES is on the scale. The slight difference is Gallup scale looks more at the antecedent side. UWES looks at the vigor and absorption side of engagement. Both are good. Both will give you some idea about whether employees engage or not. You can use it appropriately. Any other question? Well, if there are no other questions, I'd like to sign off by saying a big thank you to all of you. Next. I'll share my coordinates. If you still have any questions, my email and mobile are given. You feel free to get in touch with me. Thank you very much. All the best.